Party people. I know it's a Tuesday. I usually do this on Saturday. But we gotta talk about some stuff. Come on in. Y'all see the title on the video. Yo, what up? Y'all see the title on the video. We got this is gonna be some pretty intricate stuff that we're gonna be talking about. So, sit back and and relax and try to suck it all in. Make sure you stay to the end of the video because I got a whole lot of stuff to break down. And just like the video says, we're gonna talk about the Wall Street Federal Reserve conspiracy. It's a C-O-N-spiracy. Yo, what's good? It's a C-O-N-spiracy. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about bonds. So y'all hear me talking about police bonds and public official bonds all the time. So we're gonna really break down bonds and what they mean, the stock market, Federal Reserve, how it all ties in. Yo, what up? Detroit, what's cracking? What's cracking? So we're gonna see how it all ties in. This is some crazy stuff. So as you see, you guys may need, if you want to follow me, and if you're going to learn anything that I'm going to learn, that I'm going to teach you today, you want to get this book. This is Barron's, excuse me, Barron's Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms. This is essential. You understand? Hold on. This is essential for you to understand and to learn what we got going on. So, damn, I can't even see nothing. Hold on. All right. Also, this book. This is the Dictionary of Banking Terms. This is very important too. So, you're gonna need. If you really want to understand what I'm about to break off today, you need to get these two books. Now, the thing about these two books, Barron's is like the industry publisher of the financing and investment terms. You can find other finance and investment term books, but Barron's is the number one. Like, so as soon as they print a Barron's, excuse me, as soon as they print Barron's dictionaries, they sucked up immediately. So like this is the 8th edition. So they come out every 4 years. I've shown this before. These only come out every 4 years. This is 2010. They came out. So they came out one with, excuse me. They came out with one in 2014. 9th edition, and the 10th edition just came out 2 years ago. This literally hit 2 years this month. 2 years ago this month. So, but you can't find the 10. You can't find the 9. It's hard to find any of these. Like even this 8. I would try and find this 8 and see if you can pull this up. And if you do, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. So you can try to find the PDF version. I think somebody sent me a PDF version of the 10. So what I'll do is I'll put it in the description box along with all the other links and stuff that I'm gonna talk about today. You're gonna see I'm gonna talk about some videos and some some organizations that you're gonna need to look up. Just the research. I'm gonna put it all in the description box. But you're gonna need this. This is the gold. I promise you. I'm telling you. Then they say, when I tell you they have no more of the 10th edition, they just came out 2 years ago, and you can't find any copy of the 10th edition. Matter of fact, I had a homie. He called the dude who wrote it. One of the homies, he called the dude who wrote it, and he was like, "Nah, man, I ain't got no more copy, dog. Sorry, I don't know none of that. You got to find them on your own." Like even the dude who wrote it did not have copies of his own book. So that lets you know how important this damn book is right here. So, what are we gonna talk about today? All right, so we got to get into a whole lot of stuff. Now, I got to break some things down in order for y'all to understand some things. So we're gonna go through this by sections. Some of the stuff you may have heard before, maybe not in as much detail, but we're gonna have to go over it for people who don't know anything. So if y'all heard this before, just you're learning even more about it. So stocks, bonds, Federal Reserve, what does that all have to do with, your freedom, slavery? Well, we about to talk about it. So let's just start off right for a second about stocks. So we all know the stock market. We all know the stock market and Wall Street. They run everything pretty much. But truly, nobody knows what they are because the regulations behind Wall Street are so lax that you can't even go in and find out what these dudes are about. So it's real hard to really find out how Wall Street works unless you're in there and then you get a whistleblower to come out and be like, oh, nigga, this shit is fucked up. Like, nigga, y'all should see what's going on in this motherfucker. This shit is whack. So there have been some people who've come out and broken down what the whole workings are. And so then you want to just take that and tie it into the grand scheme of things, the huge plan. So, but first you got to understand what stocks are. So what is a stock? All right. So the etymology of stock, it goes back to the German word for stick, right? It means stick, or like the root of a tree, like a tree trunk. And the reason stocks go back to that word, and today they use the word stock that equated to sticks is because in the ancient times, even up until like the 1800s, I believe, the money used to be sticks. It was called a tally stick. And so you would take the tally stick, you would rip it in half, and then for transactions, you would keep one half, and then you would give the other half of the stick to somebody else. They would mark, every time you would do a transaction, they would mark a little groove in the stick. And then, if you came back together, you could put it together and then see the transactions, excuse me, that have been on the stick. So those were called tally sticks. That's why you say, today when you're adding up numbers, you say, what's the tally? Because that came from the word tally stick, right? So sticks were used as money, all right? So we got that. Sticks were used as money. So, but what is the common definition of stock? So, for business. So business or in business, stocks mean you're buying a piece of the company. When you buy a stock, you're buying a piece of that company or whatever you're buying the stock in, right? So that's what we believe. we're gonna get into what's really happening in a second. But the common understanding is when we buy stock, we're buying a piece of that company, right? So what that means is, so what are you buying when you're buying stock? How does the stock get into the stock market? It's from something called an IPO. Okay, what is an IPO? That stands for initial public offering. All right, so if I'm a company and I've been doing good, say my company's been in business for 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is, we've been steadily making good money, good investments, getting good investments. And we like, look, man, we can scale this. We can take this, global. Let's put it on the open market. Let's sell it to the public. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to offer pieces of my company to the public. So that's what is initial public offering. So to the public, hey y'all want to get in on this right here, nigga? We doing great. So initial public offering, right? So what happens? So we'll get into that for a second. So that's what stocks are. So stock, excuse me, stock is commonly understood as to be you're buying a piece of whatever company that you're buying stock in, right? IPO is how that stock gets on the market. Initial public offering. So then, what are bonds? All right. So bonds, literally, the bond means something that obligates you, that ties you up. It's an obligation. Like it's literally like bonds for your hands or bonds for your feet. That's where the word comes from, right? So, excuse me, I got some, they're cutting grass in the background. So if y'all hear me, I'm trying to speak a little louder over the people cutting the grass. But, so bond, that's where the word bond comes from. It's literally, you're being locked up. It's something that ties you up, that obligates you, that, that locks you in. So, hold on one second. Let me see if I can. All right. Nah, they tripping. They're on the other side. All right, so we're gonna see what we can do. So bonds. That's the definition of a bond. So now, what are bonds though? So if stocks are, you're buying with a stock. When you buy stock, you're buying a piece of the company, right? It's equity. You're buying equity in that company. Like I own a piece of this company. Bonds are debt. Okay, bonds are commonly known as debt. So how that works is, if I'm a business or a government and I want to raise money, what I do is do a bond issue, right? So I create something called, I create this bond for however much it is. Say I want to raise, $5 million, right? And so then I'll issue a certain number of, stock or bonds at $1,000 or $5,000, until I reach $1 million, however much that is, right? So what a bond does, it says, okay, if I'm selling you the bond, basically I'm saying this is an IOU. If you pay me now, you give me $5,000 now, I'll give you $5,000 whenever this bond matures, whatever it is. It can be a year, it can be 5 years, it can be 10 years, it can be 30 years, depending on whatever they call the pay schedule. So whenever that bond matures, you get the face value of that bond, right? 5,000, 1,000, whatever it is. But in the meantime, for you giving me, for basically you loaning me that money, so for you having to wait so long in order to get the payout, right? What I'm going to do is give you an interest payment, right? It's called the coupon, because back in the day, bonds used to come with this little coupon attached to it, and you rip it off, and whatever that interest payment was on that coupon, you would take it. So say if it's, say if the interest payment, just for a round number, if it's 10%, right? So if it's a $5,000 bond, and then, I'm giving you 10%, say the pay schedule is, I give you 10% of that bond every 6 months. Sometimes it can be like 3 months, every 3 months or every 4 months. I give you 10% of whatever that bond is worth, as, in order for you to be, to take on the burden of having to wait so long for me to pay you back. So what is that? 10% of $5,000, excuse me, 10% of $5,000 is going to be $500. You get paid that $500 every time you get an interest payment, which is cool. So, I'm holding the bond, right? So at the end of 5 years or whatever it is, I'm going to get paid the full money that's on the bond. But while I wait, I get paid this little interest payment, right? You know what I'm saying? Which again is 10. Usually it's like somewhere around 5%, but I'm just giving you a round number, right? So that's what a bond is. They issue debt. So if I want to raise money, I'm going to come out and say, yo, I give you an IOU. You give me, you give me now, I'll give you later. But I'm going to give you, in the meantime, I'm going to give you these little small interest payments, as, to make up for you having to wait so long for me taking, for paying you out. So that's what a bond is, right? So what's on a bond? How do you look up a bond? A bond comes with something on it. It's called, every bond has a number that's attached to it. It's called a QSIP number, right? So QSIP stands for Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures, right? So that's all it means. And all it is how you identify that bond, whatever that number is. It can be like, it's a red number or a black number on whatever the thing is. That's how you find out what that bond is, right? So just so you know, if you check your birth certificate, so I'll show you this right here. So this is my birth certificate. I ain't gonna show you the whole thing, but at the bottom of the birth certificate, down right here. You see this little red number right there? That's a QSIP number. Why is that on my birth certificate? Because my birth certificate is a bond. It is a bond. Okay? What essentially are stocks and bonds? Okay? In the financial world, what do they call stocks and bonds, right? So stocks and bonds are called securities. So let's look up what a security is real quick, because I want y'all to understand. You have to understand these investment terms because finance is a language. And if you don't understand the language, you'll never be able to get into the game. That's why this book is so coveted. It teaches you the language of the industry. So everybody rushes to get it because every 4 years the language changes. The language changes. So if you're not up on the new lingo, you know what I'm saying? If you still saying, you know what I'm saying, there it is, nigga from 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Are you saying, you know what I'm saying, oh, that's fresh, and you know what I'm saying, and the new word is something else, nigga, you old school, partner, get your ass out of here, nigga, we ain't talking about that shit no more. So, you know, that's why you have to get this book. So, security, investment, that's what we're dealing with, investments, when you're dealing with the stock market. So, security, so in investment, an instrument that signifies an ownership position in a corporation, which is a stock, or a creditor relationship with a corporation, government, or a government body, a bond. Meaning if you're a creditor, mean you're that corporation or that government is indebted to you. You've loaned them money, right? Which is a government, so an instrument that signifies an ownership position in a corporation, a stock, a creditor relationship with a corporation or government body, a bond, or rights to ownership, such as those represented by an option or a subscription right, right? So that's some options are something that you do in the stocks and bonds. You can trade options. We'll get into that in a little bit. So that's what a security is. Remember, signifies an ownership position in a corporation or a debt position, a creditor position in a bond, meaning somebody owns that bond. Somebody. So if it as a bond, meaning this is debt and somebody owns this, right? And so this is how you look at. This is how you identify this. How do you also know that it's a bond? It's a security. At the very bottom. Let me see if I can find it. At the very, very bottom, I don't know if y'all can see that. At the very bottom, it says, hold on, can you see that? Damn. Midwest Banknote Company. Damn, can I get in there? Damn, I don't think y'all can see that. But Midwest Banknote Company. Banknote Company. That's what it says on your birth certificate because it's a bond. It is a security, something that is owned by a corporation or something that's indebted to for someone else, and that they trade on the open market. Okay, so what is the Midwest Banknote Company? You just happen to look that shit up. Let me show you what the Midwest Banknote Company is. So let me read to you what the Midwest Banknote Company does. So Midwest Banknote Company, founded in 1956. Midwest Banknote Company has dedicated nearly 50 years to 50 years of printing expertise to the production of security documents designated to protect against counterfeit and fraudulent alteration. That's who Midwest Banknote Company is. Now, they have a list of their products and services right here. Let's see what they do. Products and services. Manufacturers, certificates of origin, manufacturers' statements of origin, certificates of origin, statements of origin, title documents, certificates of title, certificates, stock certificate printing, banknote paper, banknote printing, security paper printing. See, that's all they do. They basically print up securities, things that are traded on the stock market. Anything that the Midwest Banknote Company is issuing, is printing up for somebody, it's a security on the stock market. It's being traded. So this birth certificate is a security bond, is a security being traded on the open stock market, just by its very definition. Also, this is the dictionary of banking terms. Let's look up what certificate means. The definition of a certificate. Hold on. Right, find it. Here it is. Certificate. A paper establishing an ownership claim. A paper establishing an ownership claim. All right? That is a certificate. Hold on, I gotta see if this dude. Yo, man. Yo, I'm on it. Can you go back around somewhere? Back? So, had to let my man know. All right. So a certificate is a paper establishing right there, establishing an ownership claim. Y'all can read that right there. So, birth certificate, somebody owns this. If it ain't you, who the hell is it? All right. So that deals with stocks and the bonds, right? So now we got to deal with somebody called the DTCC and the DTC. So here we get into stocks. Who are they and what do they have to do with this? So when an IPO, when somebody wants to come out with their they want to put their company on the stock market and they come out with the IPO, what they have to do is list that IPO on an exchange, right? So meaning that somebody has to sell it for them, right? That's what an exchange does. It takes your stocks, your physical stocks, what's called virgin equity stock, the physical actual stock, the very beginning. That's why it's called virgin, because nobody's touched it before. It's like, ooh, yeah, nigga, ain't nobody tapped that yet, nigga. So that's virgin equity stock. They take that physically and they give it to the depository trust company, right? So, and hold on. So that's the securities exchange. They give it to, so somebody, that person or that company is the people who sells your stock for you. Now, what happens is this is the fuckery. Now I'm about to teach, here we about to get into the fuckery. So there's two companies. There's one called the Depository Trust Corporation. And then there's another one called the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, right? These are two companies. They're really the same company, but they're separately listed as two different companies. So when you issue your IPO, your stock, I'm about to put my stock on the public market. You have to give your stock to that exchange, the DTC, the Depository Trust Company. All they are is basically a bank for stocks and bonds. That's it. If you want to know what an exchange is, it's just a bank for your stocks and bonds. Just like you got a bank for your money, stocks and bonds are a different type of money, so you need a different type of bank. That's an exchange. That's what they do. They hold on to the physical stocks and bonds, right? So when you give your stocks and bonds over to the exchange, what you don't know is for a brief time, that exchange becomes the sole owner of your stocks and bonds. They become the owners. But there's a law that says the exchange can't hold on to they can't be the holders or they can't be the sellers and the holders of the stock at the same time. So what they have to do is they have to nominate somebody to hold the stock for them so that they can't be the holder and the seller at the same time, right? So they have one company that they do that with. It's called Seed and Company, SEDE and Company. Okay, you have to look this company up. We're about to get into why. Seed and Company, or CD and Company, really is what it is, because what happened is how they got their start was when stocks used to be when back before they were electronic, you had physical stocks and you had to run it down to the stock exchange and you had to hand it over to somebody called the Securities Depository. Right? So that's where your stocks went, the Security Depository. So that's why it's CD, but they have now it's CEDE, which creates the word seed. And we're going to understand what that means, why they did that. But so on the esoteric or the symbolism tip, it still stands for certificate depository. But on the esoteric underlying all of that, the word seed means to give over the right of property. That's what the word seed means, to give up the right of property. So now, when depository trust company, they take your stocks. Remember, you got to give it to them in order for you to be on the stock market. That's the law. You can't get on the stock market unless you give them to the depository trust company, DTC. They become the owner. While they're the owner, they have the right to transfer your stocks to somebody else, which is Seed and Company. Now, Seed and Company becomes the holder and sole registered stock owner of that company. Meaning, so this is for every company that gets on the stock market. So that means Seed and Company, or CD and Company, however you want to talk, they own all the publicly traded stock in the United States. They are they're the single owner of all the businesses in the United States. This is crazy. This shit gets deep. So that's Seed and Company. Now, Seed and Company is a subsidiary of the Depository Trust Corporation, right? The DTC. Now, all these corporations, you can find all these cats. The building for them is 55 Water Street in New York. So you can go look all this. You can go look them up. So now, if y'all following me, your stocks have to be given to the stock bank, which is the DTC. Then they own those stocks. While they own them for a split second, they transfer the ownership to their other subsidiary holding company, Seed and Company, when they become the sole registered owner of all the stock in your corporation. Now, then after what they do, you say, well, how is that? Because I'm still buying stock. If I'm on the stock market, I'm buying stock. What you mean? How does Seed and Company own all the stock? So now what they do is, after they take the stock, they create something called a street name. All right? What is a street name? A street name is just a fictitious name that they give to you in order for you to sell the stock under. It's not the actual stock. See, the actual stock is called Virgin Equity stock. Seed and Company got that. That's mine, my nigga. They don't, nigga. You can't have none of that. They got that. So if you want to trade, okay, well, I'll create a fake stock for you. I'll create a fictitious name that you can trade under, and then you trade that. So what does that do? They literally are cloning stock. The real stock is in their bank, but they know they can't just be like, yo, we own all the stock. So they have to create a clone stock of the real stock and then give it to you. So you are trading fake stock. If you're in the stock market right now, the stock that you think you own, you don't own it. It's fake stock. It's literally a phantom stock. It doesn't exist. This is how they have to do it. If you go on Google right now and type in Seed and Company, just go and look on Wikipedia. It'll tell you right in the thing. It'll say Seed and Company owns all the stock in the United States. They don't hide the shit. So they give you a phantom stock called the street name, and that's what you're trading. So you say, well, how is that? Because then how does the company still is able to, to do business on the stock? How do they not own the stock? If Seed and Company receives and is the sole registered owner of that company, then how does the real company do business then? Because what happens is they get something called a beneficial owner rights. Okay, so what is beneficial owner? Okay, that's different. That's different from title. So I want you guys to understand that. So let's look that up. So beneficial owner. So if it's your company, your stock is gone. But what you now got is beneficial ownership rights in your company. What does that mean? Beneficial owner, a person who enjoys the benefits of ownership, even though the title is in another's name. Y'all better get this goddamn book. Again, let's see that again. Beneficial owner is a person who enjoys the benefits of ownership, even though the title is in another name. You don't own it. You seem like you own it. You can get paid off of it. You can still, do business with it. You can do everything that you're supposed to be able to do as it's your business. But what you cannot truly do, you don't truly do, is own it. And what they do is what they call beneficial ownership rights, they aren't really yours. What they do is seeding company leases or licenses that right, that beneficial ownership right to you. Because this really in them. They actually have the beneficial ownership right. This is with seeding company. So they know that they just can't say that. So what they do is license it to you, the owner of the company, so he's able to do whatever he wants. He still gets the money. So it seems like he doesn't know because he still gets paid whatever his stock looks like it's worth. So he's like, oh, yeah, I own this stock. Of course I own this company. He's not tripping because he still gets to do whatever he wants with the company, plus he gets paid off the stock. But if you truly tried to go and do something with the stock, which other people have found on Wall Street, you can't do it. You have to get the approval of seeding company because it's their company. It's not your company. This is the real fuckery. So they're creating stock, literally fake stock, just like the Federal Reserve creates fake money, which we're about to get into in a second. The Federal Reserve creates this fake money. Wall Street is creating fake stock and selling it on the stock market, and you think you're buying real stock, and you ain't got shit. That's what's really going on. There's a video that breaks that off. I'll put it in the description. It's called The Wall Street Conspiracy. It was a video. It was a movie. This documentary movie that this lady did in 2012, I think, and it's supposed to be available on Amazon. But it's not available in America. You can't watch it in America on Amazon. They hid this. I've never heard of this movie until about a week ago. And when you watch the video, when you watch the movie, you'll understand why, because it breaks down the inner workings of Wall Street, what's really going on behind there. So there's a lady in the video called, her name is Suzanne Trimbath. Okay, Suzanne, SUSANNE, Trimbath, TRIMBATH. Suzanne Trimbath. She used to work for the Depository Trust Company. This is how all this information came out. She's the whistleblower. She used to work for the one in Los Angeles and in New York. She came out and broke all of this shit down. So also what she was breaking down what's going on when they're creating this fake stock. Also what they're doing, this is the other thing that they're doing something called short selling. Okay? What is short selling? All right. So if you go watch the movie, The Big Short, okay, so you'll get a background on what this is. This is really high shit, man, y'all. This is what's running the world. I would advise each and every one of y'all to get educated in what I'm talking about right now. This is the real shit that runs the world. So short selling. What is short selling? Short selling is when if I want to sell a stock and I don't have it, I go borrow that stock from somebody. So say, James owns a company and I want to sell some of James's stock, in his company. Say James is selling it at $1,000 a share, right? James's stock is selling at $1,000 a share. I don't own none of James's stock and I don't want to buy it, but I want to go to James. I say, look, loan me some of your shares, loan me some stock, and I'll sell it, and then pay you back the money. But also what I'm gonna do is give you, for you loaning me the stock, on top of the money you're gonna get, I'm gonna give you $10,000 service fee, something like that. Here's 10 grand for you loaning me the stock, right? So now me as a stockbroker, I got the stock. Now what I'm hoping is that stock price actually lowers, right? So I'm out there selling the stock, I'm out there selling the stock at $1,000 a share, but I'm hoping that it drops to like maybe, $600, for a round number, $600 a share. Because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start buying the stock up at $600 a share. Me, I'm going to buy it up at $600 a share. I'm going to replace that stock with the stock I bought and keep the $400 difference. You see how that is? I'm selling it first off at $1,000, but I just found it for $6. So I'm going to give you the one what I found for $6 and keep that $400 in the middle. That's short selling, right? That's legal. That's actually legal for them to do that as long as you report the sale at the end. When it comes time for you to transfer the stock and all the money at the end and you write it down, that's legal. Now, what they found was a loophole in this shit, whereas if you didn't report it at the beginning that's what you were doing, so meaning like if you didn't say I'm doing a short sale, meaning if you don't tell somebody that you're going to borrow the stocks and you just go do it and then just sell them anyway, it's called a naked short sale, right? That's a naked short sale because what you're doing is you're selling stock that you don't own. You're selling stock that you don't have. And then when it comes time for you, what they call in the industry, they call to reconcile, basically just to finalize the deal. That's all that means. When it comes to finalize the deal, you give me the stock, I give you the money. When it comes to do that, they don't do it because they don't have the stock. So what they call the reconciliation never happens. And then nothing happens. They don't get penalized for it. That's legal. And then it just becomes, they just got paid for selling stock they didn't even have. And then the person who's supposed to have the stock, he gonna got shit. Sorry. Sorry, my dude. Hey, my nigga. Damn. I got paid, but hey, nigga, that stock you was supposed to have, I don't know what happened to it, dog. So that's what they're doing. That's called naked short selling, right? So that was legal up until like recently. They started to put some locks and bonds, or some restrictions on naked short selling. But it was just cosmetic. It wasn't real. So let me tell you how all of this ties in. We get to the Federal Reserve, right? So the Federal Reserve is not federal. It has nothing to do with the government. Even the government, so Federal Reserve is a corporation, but even the government, United States of America, is a corporation. United States of America, Inc., Delaware Corporation, file number 219-3946. Go look it up. So the Federal Reserve is also a Delaware corporation, right? It's a private Delaware corporation. It's called, the legal name, the legal Delaware corporate name for it is the Federal Reserve Association, and it's listed as a nonprofit religious organization. Go look it up. The file number is 0042817. If you go to the Delaware government website, go to Division of Corporations, and then do an entity search, and then just type that in, and you'll see it. So most of the federal agencies are Delaware corporations. They're listed as Delaware corporations. The Treasury, the Education Department, the IRS, really called the Internal Revenue Tax and Audit Service. It's a Delaware corporation. I mean, all of these things they're private corporations. Just so y'all understand, because only private corporations could be trading stocks and bonds like this on the market. This stocks and bond shit that they're doing is the major game. It's running everything, and the only way they can do that is if they're corporations buying and trading in securities. So how does that work with the Fed? So the Federal Reserve is made up of 12 banks, right? So let me see. So the Federal Reserve, just real quick, how it was created. Everybody understands. If you go back, go look up the history of Jekyll Island, where they came together in the early 1900s in order to create the Federal Reserve. In order to create the Federal Reserve, the central bank, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all them, they met on Jekyll Island. Rothschild proxies met on Jekyll Island. They all did that, create the Federal Reserve, because the reason that's fucked up, because a government should be able to print its own money. You don't need an external source to be able to print your money. We already had it written in the Constitution that we can print our own money. So if you give somebody else the right to print your money, then they own you. Pretty. If you got to come and give to me to get your money, why would you do that? Why, if I can print my own money, then why would I give somebody who came up and say, "Hey man, you know what? Fuck printing your own money. Let me print your money for you, my nigga. You got to let you come to me and ask me every time you need a sandwich. You got to come to me and ask me for some money. That's good. That's better than what you got, ain't it?" Who would say yeah to that? Nobody. But President Woodrow Wilson, he did, because they had him on. The bankers had him by the balls. He signs the order into. He signs the bill into law, creating the Federal Reserve Association, right? So, and then on his deathbed, he says, "I have unwittingly ruined my country." He knew that he fucked his country up. He said that on his deathbed. Y'all can go look that up. So, Federal Reserve was created on some fuckery to take the control of the United States, to take the power. If I make, there's a quote, I think it was one of the Rockefellers, or he says, if I give me a country's money, or if I make a country's monies or something like that, I care not who makes its laws. So give me all the country's money, I care not who makes its laws. So again, the money is everything, right? So the Federal Reserve Association. The reason it's association, because it's made up of 12 private member banks, 12 different Federal Reserve banks. You go look it up, look up the Federal Reserve System. It's 12 banks, 12 regions around the United States. Now, who makes up these banks? Let's see, who makes up these banks? They're made up what they call member banks. So your smaller banks, so like you would go see Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever your bank is. I don't know, all different banks, Bank of America. So all these member banks collectively, they create and they make up these small little 12, these small little 12 banks, right? That's on the surface. That's what they say. The Federal Reserve is made up of its member banks, right? And so each of those member banks invest. And this is actually a Supreme Court ruling. The Federal Reserve banks are not federal. I think it's United States versus Lewis. Or something. I'll put the actual case in the description box. But it basically ruled that the Federal Reserve associations are private corporations. So basically, they have stock. You can buy stock in these 12 membership banks. So now this is how we get to it. So if these 12 membership banks have to have stock on the stock market, right? And that stock is basically has to be given over to the Depository Trust Corporation, and then those stocks are slid over to Seed and Company. Then that would mean Seed and Company, or the Depository Trust Corporation, they own the Federal Reserve. They're the biggest membership bank in the Federal Reserve. Who makes up the Depository Trust Company? It's made up of member banks. It's made up of banks like investment banks and banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, but also the broker houses. So all the people who are brokering stocks and bonds, all these people come. It's like a co-op. The Department of Depository Trust Corporation. It's like a co-op. All these motherfuckers come together and they create the DTC or the DTCC, and then they basically own all the stock in all the smaller membership banks that make up the Federal Reserve, which means they own the Federal Reserve. The Depository Trust Company and the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, they own the universe. They own every fucking thing. Unless you're a small business with no stock in the public market, then you still own your company. But if you're a publicly traded company, they own your shit. They own every goddamn thing. So how does that equate to what you're doing? Because everything is a bond. So this is how they're trade. This is how this becomes. Remember, bonds. All stocks and all bonds have to be listed with DTC. This is where all your shit is held. It's held with the DTC, the Depository Trust Company. It's a bank for stocks and bonds. So everything that you get that has this little number on the back, this is my Social Security card, is a bond. Even this right here, see that little number right there? That's a QSIP number, just like that's on this right here. See these two little numbers? These are bond numbers. You can look this up. There's I'll put the link in also in the descriptions too. How you can go to Treasury Direct. And I'll put the link to a video that shows you how to do exactly that. You have to get your full copy of your birth certificate though. You can't get a you got to get a certified copy. So this is like certified meaning like a certificate. So you got to get a certified copy of your birth certificate, and then you can go look it up. But you'll go to Treasury Direct and you'll be able to type in this number right here, and you'll be able to see how much your birth certificate is worth. Also, and what is being traded at and how much interest it accrued on the market. Also, you'll be able to look up that on your social security number. So all of these are bonds. Now, just so you understand, everything that you do is a bond. Your mortgage is a bond. Your driver's license, your social security number, anything that you have is a bond. Let me see what else. Even the warrants. So if you get a warrant from a police when they take you to jail, this is why they're so quick to issue a warrant. A warrant turns into a bond that they trade on the market. So they get paid off of trading, off of when they railroad your ass into jail. Which brings me to the other bonds, something called police brutality bonds. Did y'all know about that shit? What is police brutality bonds? They get paid off of beating your ass. How is that? So basically, when you get beat by the police and they lose the qualified immunity case, you sue them with a Title 42 1983 case, which is, violation of your civil rights. You win. Basically they lose the qualified immunity argument. What they do is they come in and they say, all right, we're going to offer you a settlement. Okay, we're going to offer you a settlement. However, in order for you to get the settlement, you can't admit, or we have no admission of guilt. Cool? Like, we're going to give you 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, whatever it is, but you got to say we didn't do shit wrong. Now, if you cool with that, we good. We'll hook you. We can go through with this transaction. So, how do they pay though? The city ain't got that. So what they do is a bond issue, right? So they may have done it already. So sometimes they don't do it initially when it happens. Sometimes they may have done it proactively, where they issue bonds and they set aside like $400 or $500 million for police brutality from the bonds. So so what they do is they do a bond issue, and how that has to happen is a bank has to facilitate the bond. So they have to go to a bank. The bank is like what they call an underwriter. It's the middleman. It issues the bond, and then it finds investors to invest in the bond, right? So what happens is the bank gets paid for doing this process, right? So now the bank is getting paid off your ass getting beat. So now the investors come in and they start buying up the bonds, whatever it is, and then they get paid the interest. So remember, they get paid also when the bond matures at whatever date it is, but they're getting paid on the interest. Man, so this company called acre.org, go look up acre.org. They did a whole comprehensive breakdown. I'm going to put their videos too. They did 2 webinars on, that's all they did. They did a complete study of police brutality bonds. They broke that whole shit down. They went and found all the paperwork, everything. What cities, how many cities are doing the police brutality bonds, who has the most. Chicago has $709 million in police brutality bonds. $709 million in police brutality bonds. So basically all they do is just go issue a bond, and they, when you get your ass beat, they just issue a bond for it. Somebody else comes in and pays, and they making billions of dollars every single year off of you getting your ass beat. And you think they gonna stop that? Are you insane? You are fucking crazy if you think that you're gonna get these niggas to stop doing that. They're making billions of dollars. The bond industry runs the world. Stocks and bonds run the world, but really the bond industry runs the world. Y'all need to get your asses up on the bond industry. That's what runs every fucking thing. And so if you think that these niggas gonna stop beating your ass, stop tasing you, stop doing all that, no, it's not gonna happen. The only way you're gonna stop that is you're gonna have to learn your rights. and you have to stop it. It's too big of a business. It's what the business was created off of. The police were created to maintain the status quo between upper class and lower class. That's what that thin blue line is. The thin blue line between, nigga, the upper class and lower class. If you get rid of the popo, nigga, they don't got nothing. The upper class, they ain't got nothing to protect them from you. That's why they have to keep the police like that. They have to do it. That's what separates them from the riffraff. So they don't give a fuck. They not beating them. They not beating the they're not beating down the the rich motherfuckers. They're not going to Beverly Hills and in Bel Air and all these other places and beating them down. So they don't give a shit. And not to mention, there's another thing. How they get funded. The police get funded by something called police foundations. So go look up your city. If you're in your city, look up, if you're in Los Angeles, look up Los Angeles Police Foundation, or look up Chicago Police Foundation. These are foundations. These are private foundations who raise money for the police. Just on the side, just on the slide, they raise money for police, these foundations. And so go look on the boards of these foundations. You'll see they're Target, Amazon, Chevron, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all these motherfuckers. So in the report, that Acre does, they break down who is buying the police bonds, who are issuing the police bonds. You'll see it's like Bank of America. I think the main ones are Bank of America, Wells Fargo. I forgot the third one. It's three main people who are really doing it, but then they'll list all of the people who are doing the police brutality bonds. So this is a real thing, man. Y'all, like no one knew, and these people went and found this shit out and put this story out. Now, again, you go into something that they also need is a public official bond. So again, I've been trying to teach y'all about that bond industry, that whole bond market for the longest time. They got police brutality bonds that cover their asses when the city, it's a municipal bond that the city issues to cover their ass when the police beat you. But the police also has to cover his own ass with a public official bond. The public officials in office and also the police officers. This is what I've been telling y'all. It's all in here. This shit breaks this whole shit down. Public official bonds, it's all in the game. These are them. All of these bonds are all of them are traded on the open market, and it's the number one game. There is no stocks on the stock market, just so we're aware. All the real stock is in a bank held by Seed and Company. All you niggas are trading phantom stock, literally phantom stock. Y'all better understand the real game that's going on. Let me see. Did I miss anything? Let's see. Police brutality bonds. So the real person you want to look up who breaks this down, who breaks down the DTC is, again, Suzanne Trimbath. She has a few videos out where she talks about this. She talks about the inner workings, of what's happening what happens on the inside when she really found out all this shit and then she had to leave. But this is the motherfucking game. Now you see how all of this shit ties in. Stocks, bonds, the Federal Reserve. It is literally one fake ass game. It's literally it's all counterfeit. There is no actual money. There is no actual stocks and bonds. There's actual stocks and bonds, or the real money, the real gold is held by one motherfucker, and they issue you fake shit to deal with. Here, y'all play with that fake. Y'all play with that Monopoly shit. Y'all go fuck around with that. The real gold, I got that in my bank. The real land, I own that. This is all real. This is what real property means. It is. It's tangible shit. It ain't motherfucking pieces of paper that you trade around in stock and little computer bits. That ain't what real wealth is. It's the land. It's the resources off the land, gold, silver, that type of shit that they truly own in their own and got it all locked up. And just literally create a fake motherfucking or a phantom clone of that shit and give it to you to play around with. And also while they sell your bond on the open market, making money off of it. You got to go look up, you got to go get your bond, your birth certificate bond, and see how that plays in and how much money they've been making off of you this whole goddamn time. How do you get out of that? If you're a 14th Amendment citizen, sorry, you can't really do it. you only can get out of that by status change. You got to literally sever all those contracts with those private corporations. They're private corporations. I'm showing you. Federal Reserve Association is a Delaware corporation. United States of America, Inc. is a Delaware corporation. Even the FDIC, where that insures your money, the FDIC is a Delaware corporation with a file number. All of these entities are all private corporations that you are obligated to by your contracts. And if you don't go sever those contracts or rework them in your own, from your own perspective, like, look, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. This is what I want. But man, then you subject to the rule maker of the contract, which wasn't you. Y'all better learn contracting. This is the real game y'all getting into. Y'all talking about reparations and all this and that shit. Man, y'all are slaves. Y'all are pieces of property. You ain't getting that. If they do, they're gonna give you a little sip of Coke out of a 2 liter. Like, you got the 2 liter. We're gonna sip the 2 liter over here, nigga. But yeah, you want a little? They gonna toss you a little. There you go, little nigga. Get on my face, little nigga. Take that little drip right there and get the fuck out of my face. You're not going to get really anything. They only will placate you in order to keep the illusion of the system going. That's the only time that if you get something, that's all they'll be doing, is to try to keep the illusion of the system going. Because they know they can't, once all y'all niggas get too crazy and start riling up, y'all rip up shit. So we got to motherfucking give you something. Just like in the Matrix. They had to give you something to make you feel good in the Matrix so that you wouldn't rip out of the shit. So yeah, we'll let you niggas win sometimes. They have to do it, because if you constantly losing, you gonna uprise. You gonna think, fuck this losing shit, nigga. Boom, you gonna nigga, fuck losing. So they gotta let you win sometime. You win sometime, you like, hey, nigga, that was pretty good. Nigga, you see that guy right there, nigga? You see that, nigga? You see my car right there, guy? They'll let you win a little bit. But the true overall game, you'll never establish generational wealth. You'll never get out of from under the thumb of being a slave. You're a constant slave. Your work, what they're trading, is your labor. That's what that birth certificate and that Social Security card does. Remember, it's called. What did I just tell you what a security was? This is a social security. They tell you what it is. A security that's traded. A security is something that establishes ownership. And if you ain't got the damn paper, you ain't got the contract that says you the owner, you the nigga being traded. You the property. So, sorry I had to break down to y'all. Y'all gonna have to rewind this a lot and get this down, because it was a lot of information that I was breaking down. But y'all have to understand what was really going on, who runs all of this shit. So make sure, this is a live video, so make sure y'all download it just in case YouTube wipes this shit off. Because this is some major shit that we're talking about right now. They probably don't want this information out. If they suppressed that girl's movie, the Wall Street Conspiracy, they suppressed her movie, and she ain't even talking about all the shit I'm talking about. how CD and Company owns the Federal Reserve and all that. And they ain't even talking about all of that. So go watch that movie. Like I said, it's like 8 years old, and it's been suppressed so much that she had to put it on YouTube for free. Somebody puts it, when you go watch it, it'll say published with permission of owner, published for free with permission of owner, because they were suppressing it so much that she had to just get it out there. They weren't trying to let nobody know about that shit. So again, educate yourself on how this system is run. If they're about to take off and change the system, you need to understand how the system works. So when it does change and flip, you can be on the right damn track and then, start to get ahead. If you don't, you're going to be fucked up. Again, I told y'all about bonds. The bonds run everything. This is why everyone who works for the government officials, mostly, not the federal government, but state governments, have to have bonds. And this is how you get them. And so, again, remember, the only way to get past all of that is you got to sever yourself from the system. You got to break free from the system. And this is how you do it. Or you can find a way, you can find out how to do it yourself, but you got to learn the law. This is how you get by. You got to sever yourself from the system. You got to start learning the law. And remember, If you get the Great Book of Melanin Research, y'all get all that for free. All right. So get the information. Also, here it is. So again, get all that for free. Great Book of Melanin Research, hard copy. Get all that for free. But really what I want y'all to understand is just start learning bonds. Get this book. Go out. If you can find this book, please get this book and start studying this book. It's going to help you to, and so you need to get in. Now, check this out. I'm not saying don't get in the stock market because it's still a game that you can come up in like real quick. It's they got the game, they maintaining the game because they're in the game, right? So that's a game that you can really get in and run. You just need to master it. Know what you're doing first. Know that when you're getting these stocks, you're not really buying stock, you're buying phantom stock. It's not real. So this is why most people trade options. So you need to get in what's called option trading. So options, you just basically you're like custodian of stock. You're sliding it around. You don't really own it, really. You just, all right, I'm moving the stock from here to here to here to here to here to here. So that's a better game than you sitting up here thinking that you're a true owner of somebody's company and Seed & Company owns everything. I'm telling you, type in Seed & Company and then go to the Wikipedia page of Seed & Company and scroll down and where it says Seed & Company, Seed & Company substantially, or no, what is it? What is it? Substantially owns all of the stock traded in the United States. It says it right there. Trade all the publicly traded stock in the United States. Seed & Company owns. So they not hiding it. You just don't know. But get in the game. Fuck. Get your ass in the game. Don't be sitting around talking about the game. They gonna change the game every time we try to get in the game. They gonna change it on us. As soon as we start learning something, they gonna change the game. We can't learn nothing because they keep switching the goalpost. Nigga, fuck all that. Learn what the new goalpost is. Learn what the new game is. They keep changing the game. Learn the new game. Fuck all that. That's just a fucking excuse. Keep learning the new game. Shit. The fuck. Y'all niggas, I relearn the game. Fuck it. So what? You want to keep learning. That's the whole point. But you can't do it unless you get these. Also, if you're going to learn the law, get that Black's Law 4th Dictionary. Excuse me, Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition. It breaks down, a whole lot of this. What's missing in here, the legal terms behind it. It's in the Black's Law. So I just hit y'all with the shit, what was really going on. It's up to y'all to research the shit. Got questions, put them in the comment box. Make sure y'all hit the like button and subscribe. And I'm going to holler at y'all in a minute. Oh, go to Reelnagas.com and pick up some stuff. All right.